What's happening, YouTubers, and welcome to Dan on Sports. And if this video has found its way through your daily browsing, how? Anyway, we're continuing our recaps of NFL teams and their off seasons, and if they position themselves to be better teams in 2021. This time around, we'll be discussing the AFC South. How did these teams do? Tune in now for my take. Drop it. Texans made all the right moves and put all the right pieces around Deshaun Watson for a successful season. Psych. Watson won't even be on the team, maybe not in the NFL. Aside from that, the Texans have been a model of front office incompetence that we all know they can be. JJ Watt was an absolute company guy, the type who would snitch to HR that you're taking Post-its home. How the hell do you chase him away? He was simping for y'all. Will Fuller was another big loss to go along with trading Nuck the previous year. Texans lack weapons. A sentence I never thought I'd say about Texans. And it only gets worse. They lost center Carlos Watkins as well. Just because the front office was busy doesn't mean they did a great job. Tyrod Taylor wasn't a bad pickup considering what's going on with Watson, but they also drafted a quarterback. Philip Lindsay and Mark Ingram seem like redundant pickups. Matter of fact, none of the moves really seemed to move the needle, to be honest. Like I said, they drafted QB Davis Mills after signing Taylor, which means they really feel that Watson is out the door. Some say the Texans set him up. Now, I'm not one to speculate, but it don't take an Among Us player to see that something is really sus here. They drafted Nico Collins, which may help to address the ginormous hole they have at wide receiver, but that's TBD. It's weird seeing what's happening with the Texans. A couple years ago, we thought they'd end up where the Bills and the Browns are right now. But right now, they're where the Bills and Browns were like 5 years ago. Bad decision after bad decision is what this team's all about. It'll take them as long to recover after Bill O'Brien as it'll take this country to recover after Don... Nah, I'm not gonna go there. But back to the other dumpster fire. Texans fans, sorry, your team just ain't it, Chief. For a team with boatloads of cap space, you would think that the Colts would do a lot more. Is it that they didn't want to pony up the cash for free agents, or is it that free agents just don't want to live in Indiana? Who knows? They let Anthony Walker walk. Phillip Rivers, who's often statistically better than his two ring-wearing contemporaries, but will never be held in the same regard, retired to play with his kids. All 60 of them. Jacoby Brissett is better than a lot of people give him credit for. I streamed him a couple of years ago for wins here and there, so he's reliable. What went wrong there? But then again, what went wrong there? Right. The Colts believe there's good football in Carson, and they bet a few draft picks on it. They retained T.Y. Hilton, who won me a few weeks and lost me a few weeks over the years. They signed serviceable tackle Sam Tevi. Okay. They also got tackles Julian Davenport and Eric Fisher. Fisher might still be hurt, and Davenport is... They really didn't do much to allow Wentz to succeed. Didn't strengthen the line, didn't go out and get him weapons. It's almost like they thought they were just a QB away. Spoiler alert, they're not. And even if they were, Wentz is not that dude. Their draft ranged from serviceable to straight garbo. I like Kwity Paye, but that's pretty much it. They should have took a tackle early to replace a retired Anthony Costanzo, and they reached for tight end Kylan Granson, and the rest of the draft is what it was. To sum up their offseason, it's like going to Vegas with a ton of cash and only playing the penny slots. Like, what was the point? The Colts galloped into a weak-ass offseason. Here's the thing about Jacksonville this year. Their moves don't usually strike fear into the hearts of anyone, but they did hit the jackpot when Adam Gase screwed the Jets on his way out the door by coaching them up to a couple of wins. I generally don't promote tanking, but Trevor Lawrence is a generational talent. So the best move the Jags did was losing last year. Now I know a lot of you folks in Florida are setting daily records and suffering extremely high rates of the most infectious disease in recent memory, Minshew mania. For whatever reason, you love that man, but you know he ain't going to be on this team for much longer. Not with Trevor Lawrence there. Imagine being such a big Gardner Minshew fan that you're mad that they drafted Trevor Lawrence. Back to the Jaguars. The rest of the moves were up and down to say the least, when it should have been great with all the cap room and draft picks they had. Although Travis Etienne is talented, there are more pressing needs to address in the first round. Drafting Campbell and Cisco will help strengthen a previously weak secondary. Speaking of secondary, it's tough to say that Shaquille Griffin was a reach, but for the amount of money they paid him, you can pretty much say that. Carlos Hyde is doing his second tour of duty with the Jags. He's been bouncing around from team to team and still gets rostered in fantasy. You'll notice that I'll base some of my opinions on some players on my personal experience with them in fantasy football. You do it too, so shut up. Overall, the Jags are in good shape with a franchise quarterback that they lucked into, and all they have to do is build around him. They could have done more building this year, but they should be able to do so in the future if they don't get in their own way, which they've been known to do. Don't think I've forgotten the Titans. The Titans seem to have forgotten the Titans. This team was good enough to send Brady and the Patriots packing a few years ago, and they had a lead over Kansas City before it all fell apart in the AFC Championship game. But they didn't look like the same team last year. This offseason wasn't particularly impressive either. The team lost a ton of players. Dory Jackson's departure leaves a void in the secondary. They also lost Super Bowl hero Malcolm Butler, even though the real hero of that game was Seattle's play calling. Regardless of how you feel about Jadeveon Clowney, a defense as bad as the Titans could have really used him. And the losses continue. They lost talented wideout Corey Davis and red zone target Jonnu Smith. They did pick up Janoris Jenkins, who was part of a pretty good Saints defense before he was released. He's no longer the jackrabbit that he once was though. Bud Dupree is coming back from an injury, but every bit helps a defensive unit that can't sack the quarterback. Drafting Caleb Farley should help the secondary if he can stay healthy. They also drafted tackle Dylan Radins to help strengthen the line. Overall, the Titans lost a lot of key players and they didn't do a good job of replacing them. I'm not very optimistic on their prospects this year with all the comp in the AFC. They could have done better to keep pace. And that's your AFC South. Do you agree? Do you feel you know something that I don't know? Are you going to be a baby because you didn't like what I said about your team? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be discussing the suddenly competitive AFC East next. Thanks for leaving, Tom. Tune in and see how your teams did. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you like the content. Feel free to hit the bell icon. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. So until next time, you're dismissed. Peace.